Imagine a deep relationship where your whole being is involved, where nothing is superficial or forced, but everything flows naturally, like a fountain that never stops. This is the essence of the biblical passage from Mark 12:30, where we are called to love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. It's not just a command, but an invitation to a life of fullness and purpose, where every part of us finds its true meaning in God. To love God with all your heart means to engage your emotions, your deepest desires, the things that move you from the inside out. Imagine an intimate friendship where you fully trust the other person, where your heart is open, without holding anything back. God invites us into that kind of intimacy with Him. When we love Him with all our heart, we don't hold anything back, we don't hide our fears or weaknesses. He wants our heart, which may often be broken or flawed, but in His hands can be restored and strengthened. Then comes the call to love Him with all your soul. In the Bible, the soul is often associated with our inner being, our identity, who we truly are inside. To love God with all your soul is to surrender your essence, your thoughts, and decisions. It is to live in a way that reflects how important God is to us. If we stop and think, everything we do, from the simplest choices to the most complex, expresses who we are. And God wants to be at the center of those choices, guiding us and transforming the way we live. To love with all your mind goes beyond the emotional. God also calls us to love Him with our intellect, with how we think and understand the world. It's about seeking to know God deeply, studying His Word, reflecting on His teachings, and allowing that wisdom to shape the way we view life. Loving God is not blind, it's conscious and rooted in understanding who He is. The more we know Him, the more we love Him, because we see His goodness, grace, and mercy in every aspect of our lives. Finally, the text speaks of loving God with all your strength. This involves our body, our energy, our work. It's not a passive or merely emotional love, it's a love that translates into action, into service, into effort. God has given us gifts and talents, and He desires that we use them for His glory. When we put our strength, our daily effort into His service, we are showing our love in practical ways. Whether in small gestures or big deeds, loving God with all our strength means living dedicated to Him in everything we do. This passage doesn't present us with a divided love, where we give God only part of ourselves. It speaks of total surrender, of a love that involves everything: heart, soul, mind, and body. It is a love that consumes our life, that transforms us, that makes us want to be better. When we understand this, we realize that loving God in this way is the greatest privilege we can have. He is not asking for the impossible, but for something that frees us, that fills us, and gives us purpose. Responding to this call of love is entering into a relationship where we find peace, security, and meaning for everything we do. Loving God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength is not a burden, it is the greatest source of joy we can experience. Because in loving Him this way, we discover that we were made for this, to live in deep communion with our Creator, who loved us first and calls us to love Him back with all that we are.